Look at Amy Rose in the background with her hedgehog coochie out. Let me go fix that. No need to be having her innards shown to the world, if you know what I mean. Welcome to my channel. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Exis and this is my channel Exis Does. I hope we are all having a wonderful fall. We're in fall. We're almost heading to fall, girl. Summer is over. Summer is no longer with us. We are moving fast and heavy towards fall time, which means it is about to be spooky season very soon, and Thanksgiving as well. I am looking forward to spooky season this year, and I will tell you guys why as I progress in this video. But I thought I should just do like a sit down with you guys and talk about some things that are on my mind. I know a couple months ago, because it's been a minute, honey. I haven't been here since God knows how long, but a couple months ago I had this series that I was attempting to start, though I would, we're not consistent, so can't really call it a series, but I called it Makeup and Unhinged Thoughts, right? Where I would just talk about random shit and just yap while doing my makeup. I'm changing that title from Makeup and Unhinged Thoughts to Hey Exis, what's on your mind? So I know I said that I haven't been consistent in regards to posting videos, but I have been very consistent in streaming. So the reason why a lot of my YouTube video audience hasn't seen me in a while is because I've been streaming every weekend since I stopped making videos, I believe. I think I took like a couple week break and then I ran like full throttle into streaming, and I just started doing that exclusively. And y'all, I have to say, I actually really love it. I think it's very fun. Not a lot of folks on the stream, not gonna lie. I mean, I'm very new at this, so I'm not expecting like thousands and thousands of people to be on stream the first time, especially with how many folks are just like engaging with my channel in general. But what I will say is that it's a lot easier for me to get my thoughts out without feeling hesitant to say what I need to. The only thing I worry about is saying the wrong thing, which I gotta kind of get over, right? Because I feel like with the way the internet has been evolving, it seems as if people just don't want to with other individuals who have some semblance of a different opinion from them. And then it feels like people also want to like go to leaps and bounds to make preconceived notions or assumptions about people who have differences of opinion or who disagree with one thing that like their fave says, you know what I mean? And that can be a little dangerous. Obviously there's some of like the really big ones where it's like a non-negotiable, like I can't see myself agreeing with you and I'm side-eyeing you as a person and judging your character a little bit. But then there are just some opinions where it's like, well, whoa, let's step back and like reassess and like analyze why we feel the way we do, and if we can see from like an opposing viewpoint why they might feel a certain way, you know what I mean? Like if you don't agree with anything that they say whatsoever, it's important to always hear the opposing side and the opposing opinions out there, because it will keep you well equipped and well versed on what the other side actually thinks about where their mentality is coming from, more or less. So I'd say all that to say, I am a lot less nervous about like just saying what I say live off the cuff, and if people disagree, they disagree, it's whatever. I'm not gonna get it right every time. I'm not trying to position myself as a journalist like some people do, like an informant. I'm just giving commentary, right? And more importantly, I'm absolutely more than willing to admit when I'm wrong. Like if I'm wrong on something, I will admit it, and that'll be that on that, and that's okay. So yeah, streaming has been very fun. I've been really consistent with that, and I think with my streaming now, I totaled up how many videos I've made and also totaled up how many YouTube videos I've made myself, and I've reached the 101 mark. I've reached the 100 video mark, which means that I am going to be making some changes and how I want to structure my space on YouTube and just structure my brand as a creator. Right now, a couple things that we need to talk about before we get into the meat and potatoes of what's actually on my mind. So I know I haven't been really consistent, and I'll go into details as to like where my thoughts are as to why I'm not consistent. I created a video where I talk about how my last job low-key took so much out of me that I just became completely demoralized and defeated in like doing anything outside of work. And I was so like worried and walking on eggshells at work every single day to make sure I did every single thing right, at the risk of being berated by my boss. And I go into that in details. And like I said in one video, but like I said, I'm like very, very hesitant to post it because I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing. But at the end of the day, it's my truth. It's how I feel. If people get their feelings hurt, right? Like, I mean, hey, it's what it is. That's how I feel. They're welcome to say what they need to say, and, you know, we'll let it be what it be. You know what I mean? So this thing is really noisy. Good enough. Okay, so what is Hey Exis on your mind about? Okay, so Hey Exis What's on Your Mind is actually a segment I started on my live stream where I would put a deck together talking about some of the things that were on my mind, the books I'm reading, the content I'm consuming, the movies I'm watching, the media that I am interested in talking about, and just kind of talk about random shit that's on my mind and just like discuss it off the fly and off the cuff. However, I realized that I think for live streaming, I want it to be like specific to like gaming and like a chill space. I want to sit up and live stream and just like rant all the time, you know, and sometimes it can get that way. Or just like maybe I can do a casual yap here and there, but I think that this segment would do a lot better if I posted it in the form of a YouTube video, because I feel like YouTube really curates a space for you to just yap or pretend like you're yapping to your girlfriend, your homie, your homeboy, like, you know, like it's just kind of what it is. So I'm moving this segment over to this portion of my YouTube. All right, this is where I'm probably gonna start doing the Hey Exis What's on Your Mind series. It is so difficult like talking while putting on makeup, by the way. I have a hard time doing that. Before I put on my makeup, first of all, it's been a hot little minute since I've actually put makeup on. All right, so first thing I'm gonna start with, job market reports are at an all-time low. Okay, now y'all know that for myself, the job market is flopping. It's in its flop era. Apparently, it's so bad. It is so bad. It is so bad that it is reaching the same records or dropped to the same records of the start of the pandemic, when companies were letting everybody go and demanding people stay at home. That's how bad it's gotten. Okay. As you all know, that I've talked about this in May, I have gotten laid off. Not only have I gotten laid off, there has been recruiters that have been reaching out to me and letting me know about like some of the like opportunities that are available if I'm interested, which I thoroughly appreciate, because I always find that when recruiters reach out to you, it usually means like it's a good sign. It means that people are interested in hiring you. However, I think since the job report came out, there has been like a dial back in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know, guys, like, I guess my question is, did y'all like really like genuinely vote for this? Like, is this really what you guys wanted? I know that the Biden administration didn't do too well with the economy, and we started seeing companies cut back costs in the name of efficiency, as they'd like to call it, maybe hoarding millions, I don't know. And like, we kind of put blame on the Biden administration for like not getting the economy together. But did y'all actually think Trump would do any better? Not to whip out the politics right off the bat, but like honestly, both the Democrats and the Republicans, right, liberals and conservatives, like that they don't got it together at all. Like, they do not have a solution for how much of a show America has gotten. We're probably going to enter into like a very dark winter with the inflations activating with China and other countries. And I think the biggest issue that I have, that I'm like scratching my head about, especially as these politicians make these decisions, as Trump makes these executive orders for raising tariffs and all of that, I think my biggest question is, how is America supposed to survive exactly? Everything is very like globalized and interconnected and intertwined in this country that there's no way that manufacturing jobs are going to come back to this country. Like, that's just not happening. We can't afford to do that. And honestly, quiet as it's kept, a lot of the people who complain about, like, you know, back in the good old days where you could work at a factory and earn your keep, and they're extorting their jobs to the Mexicans and overseas in India and all that bigoted BS, right? Like, those same people who are complaining about those issues, like, you're not gonna go into a factory and work for $5 an hour. Timothy. Like, you're not gonna go quit your like cushy job at like white collar job to like work in a warehouse. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna want to work in a factory. You're not gonna be doing the manual labor that a lot of these immigrants that came to America who weren't legal were able to do and collect under the table money for. So it's like, what did you think the solution was? Did you really think that like in them cutting back things in the name of efficiency that they would like you would be rewarded automatically like a high paying juicy role? You know what I mean? These tech companies saying that they are cutting back costs, and these big companies saying they're cutting back costs and to eradicate DEI. That is a ploy, and that is just elaborate like political speak, in my opinion, to say that what they're really trying to do, it never had anything to do with DEI, and it had absolutely everything to do with it's expensive to afford Americans. Americans are expensive. They demand more, and quite frankly, I don't blame us for demanding more, because it is mad expensive to live here. And so why pay Jonathan the American $150K a year for a software development role or a juicy white collar corporate role when we can pay Sanjeet out in India $50K a year and get like twice as much work out of him? Like, logic. It never had anything to do with DEI, and I wish people would stop saying that. The government efficiency cuts had nothing. The government had nothing to do with like they just weren't doing their job properly, and everything to do with like Elon Musk and the Dogecoin government, whatever the it is, right? That establishment is in the White House. Budget cuts. Okay, for him, and money towards him and in his pockets. To this day, I don't even know, or Doge, House of Doge government branch. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't even understand why that was necessary. And it seems like with the beef between Elon and Trump, like they've all hate each other now, but it's just like, y'all literally chose this life. Y'all literally chose this lifestyle. I feel like, at least with the Democrats, we would have slowly but surely probably gotten to this point, but y'all wanted to speed run this thinking that you would get benefits and tax breaks and whatever and it's like, you're not in the top 1%, Buki. You're not in the top 5%. You're probably not even the top 50%. They do not give a about you. At this point, they find you disposable and are about to replace you with robots. So buckle up, Buttercup. That's the life that you chose. That's what you signed up for. And I don't know what this means for the job market. Like I said, I'm still looking for a job. But yeah, it just sucks for everybody around. And I'm glad that at least we're finally being honest with how bad things are now. The reports are showing up accurately and saying, yeah, no, girl, no one can get a job right now. Like, everybody's struggling. And, you know, kudos to them finally being honest. But, like, also, I want to give a big FU to lying to us and gaslighting literally every, like, millennial and Gen Zer into thinking that we're the problem and, like, we're just not doing our job search correctly. Like, no. A lot of these companies have rigged the system. I talked about this before. A lot of these companies post up ghost jobs to make it look like they're hiring people so that they can like hit a quota, so that they can look good to their angel investors or whatever and then they don't hire anybody. They take the job posting down. Maybe they hire internally, which is very common, but that's just kind of where we're at right now. Next topic. As I have been, I guess one way to put it is enjoying my fun employment. That's what I'm calling it. Yes, my fun employment. Let me see if I can move my camera over here. Oh, okay, that might be a little better, but then I have to move this. Okay, so yeah, I've been enjoying my fun employment, right? And something that I realized that I haven't done, that I used to do a lot, like when I was a kid, yikes, is reading. I'm reading again, guys. I'm actually, you know, picking up a book and reading stuff. And I'm not out here reading like self-help, thinking, grow rich. No, I'm not doing that. A lot of people who like listen to that type of content, where the advice is you need to read, you need to be well versed in things, you need to have intellectual conversations. Their form of reading is always going to be like a life coach, self-help, buy my book type, right? And I'm not, like, y'all know I don't with life coaches like that. Like, I think it's a crock of shit. But I've just been reading books that like help me find my whimsy, and that's a lot of fiction books. I've just been up in it with the fiction books. I'm having the time of my life over here, just reading. I wouldn't say that I'm really in it with the horror book genre yet. I finished Children of Blood and Bone, the African lore and mythology fantasy novel, and I loved it. I thought it was really good. And I'm currently reading Sorrowland right now, and I don't know, which is more of like a Southern Gothic horror. Yes, it's a Southern Gothic horror. Yes, that's what it is. But it's like a Black Southern Gothic horror. You know what I mean? I'm basically reading a lot of books about like women descending into madness and evolving and changing and like going through shit. You know what I mean? I also read this very sad sapphic love story as well. But more or less, I'm loving the fact that I have time to read. And more importantly, what's like really sad and disheartening for myself is that I realized how much of my time I've just been either distracted from my phone or just in go mode. Like when I was working my job, I didn't feel like I could take a break to read. And then when I was taking breaks, I was just glued to my phone on TikTok looking at like a bunch of debauchery BS and talking points and discourse that I really did not have much of an opinion towards. So I don't know. I really like the fact that I'm reading again and that I'm like engaging my mind. Also, ever since I heard that our cell phones, these platforms are like conditioning our brains to receive information a certain way based off of how the algorithm is structured, which means that it might be harder for us to like consume certain information or actually like think critically about the information we're consuming. Ever since I've heard that, I've been on more of a mission to prioritize detoxing from social media, detoxing from the internet, and just picking up a book, reading it, and interpreting it how I want to. Shout out to Book Talk as well. They also inspired me in reading, and like they helped me find like the genre of books that I'm really interested in. So shout out to Book Talk. Gotta love me some Book Talk. But like, yeah, reading has been really fun for me. It's been a nice hobby of mine, and I unfortunately used to be an avid reader when I was a kid. Like I used to read all the time when I was 10, like in middle school years, like 8, 9 to like 13, right? And then I just stopped reading. I went to a high school where it was like, it almost like set up like a little college almost, where it was ingrained in me, I guess, that since you're going to be reading a bunch of short stories and a bunch of books and novels at school, you don't need to be reading anything outside of these books. I don't know. Maybe, I think it was like ingrained in me back then that if I wasn't reading like a book that had substance, and when I mean substance, like classic literature or whatever, then it probably wasn't worth my time reading. Therefore, I should not read it altogether. You know what I mean? I think the last like popular novel that I dug my claws into, or I attempted to dig my claws into, was Twilight. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I wasn't a Twilight girl. I wasn't a fan of Twilight. I just thought it I've talked about it before. It just didn't feel relatable to me. And then now that it's come out that Stephanie Meyers actually doesn't think Black vampires should exist, I was just like, you know what? Actually, I don't. I don't think I'm going to go back and read Twilight. I don't think I'm going to watch the series. There is a book out, though, by a Black author, and I think it's called Blood Moon, that has like a vampire werewolf love dynamic with a Black like lead main character, you know, and I might give that a read out of spite. But yeah, I'm just happy that I'm reading again, real talk. Like I'm happy that I'm just finding my whimsy. I'm doing things that bring me joy, and even though it sucks that I'm not employed because I don't know what my life is going to look like financially in the next couple of months or so, it's just really nice to just kind of relax and be at peace and not always feel like I have to be at go, or that I have to like overwork myself at a job, or I have to be exceptional at a job that's probably going to let me go. Like it just feels nice to just kind of have that time to myself. So reading is fun. Definitely recommend y'all pick up a book. And again, don't be out here picking up the Think and Grow Rich books. I'm pretty sure you can find the SparkNotes version of that. Go and read a fantasy novel. Go and read a gothic horror. Read classic literature if you want to as well. And if you don't want to read classic literature, don't let people make you feel bad for what you're interested in reading. You know what I mean? read what makes you happy. Like, at least pick up a book and read, guys. We need to do some more reading. Okay, the reason why there is a media literacy crisis right now is because a lot of folks aren't doing reading, and they're running off of emotions and whatever is thrown at them in the algorithm. So read. Please, if anything, please just read. So Love Island has been taking everybody by storm. Yeah, we're talking about Love Island like some 5, 8, 10, 12 weeks late. Yep, that's what we're doing. I feel like Love Island had the same type of like guttural reaction that by like all types of people, especially like younger generations, in the same way like Jersey Shore did when it came out. I remember when Jersey Shore dropped and how everybody in my high school was talking about Jersey Shore. But I say all of that to say that Love Island is now, I guess, this modern day version of Jersey Shore. This season sparked a whole bunch of discourse and talking points, and people really like held this season like near and dear to their hearts and argued, which I would low-key agree with, that like this season was high-key a social experiment, right? I think the contestants that stood out the most, specifically in like maybe like Black spaces, was the dynamic between Huda, Shelly, and Olandria. You know what I mean? I did see a lot of people fiend after Huda, and especially after, you know, the episode with Megan Thee Stallion where she was having the girly pops like busted wide open for her, and everyone was like,
Huda's dancing is not civilian move, she is a stripper.
And like, if she is, more power to her, right? But then like the dynamic between Olandria and Shelly, and then like how Huda would crash out and whatnot, and just the amount of ridicule that both those ladies went through on that series, like not just like on the show, right? Because I would like to think that a lot of those people, like they, like when they're filming it, like they're chill with each other, right? But also just on the internet, like, the amount of trolling these women went through, especially Olandria. So it was to my surprise and my shock that when it was all said and done and when it was all over, even though Amaya Papaya, I guess is what they're calling her, won the series, right? It feels like Olandria is the girl who came out on top, like, right? Like, she's going to these award shows, these New York Fashion Week events. She's getting a buttload of brand deals. Like, people did not want Nick Olandria to happen. They did not want that Nick guy, that Latino dude, to get with that girl. Like, they did not want that at all. Mind you, I'm telling you all of this not even watching the show, just basing it off of like commentary that I've actually seen online. But people were pissed that Nick Olandria was a thing, and that like they could not fathom that Nick actually had a thing for this beautiful girl, right? Because one thing's for certain and two things for sure, or however the saying goes, y'all are not gonna look me in my eyes, all right, and tell me that Olandria is ugly. You're not going to do that. I think what the internet wanted us all to think, right, is that Olandria is ugly. I think that's what the end goal was, that Olandria was ugly, and not to do a comparison to Rue, but I'm gonna compare her to Huda, in that Huda should be the girl who's getting all the brand deals, all the sponsorships, all the access. I think that's what the internet, or what the people, maybe like the producers, I don't know, right? But it did not end up that way. And as Huda started like breaking under pressure, realizing that whatever was going on with Jeremiah wasn't working out, or whatever his name is, like people started to fall out of love with her, that the traditional beauty standard of like someone like a Huda was no longer working in her favor anymore. Which leads me to my like the number one point of what I'm discussing, right? I think that a girl like Olandria is probably projected to change the beauty standard of what we find attractive in mainstream media. And I think the people who are in control of what we think and what we should see as attractive and what we deem as attractive don't know what to do with that information. Like they're trying to prevent that from happening. They don't want, and I'm gonna just tell it what it is. They don't want this beautiful dark-skinned woman to create a new standard of beauty that they don't have control over. And when I mean they, I mean execs, entertainment industry, quite frankly, like men, male gaze. Like, I don't think a lot of people want her to win in the way that she's winning, because she shines a light on individuals' insecurities. And I think that she definitely will be changing the beauty standard in the next couple of years, that we're probably going to see a shift in like a lot of like darker skinned woman representation, which is something that I'm absolutely here for. As a brown skin girly myself, although I've moved in life like I was dark skinned, don't be fooled. Like, when I get outside, I get pretty dark, okay? As a brown skin girly myself, I love to see that, especially for darker complected women who barely get represented or get shoehorned into very specific roles, is what I'll say, right? Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like colorism doesn't exist. What I won't do though is I can't, like, mentally, for my own well-being, I can't sit in the idea, in the notion of colorism, because of how it's impacted me in my life. Me not wanting to like think of another thing that might be stacked up against me as a woman of color, right? Like, I just can't do it. However, I have experienced colorism, and I think what's crazy is that growing up, I didn't think it felt like colorism. I just thought like, oh, they're just, you know, kikiing, cackling, and all of that. Like, no, girl, looking back, it was definitely colorism. And I am not even like the deepest of dark skin, you know what I mean? So like, Lord only knows what that looks like for someone who looks like an Orlandria, someone who looks like a Doechii, someone who looks like a Thames or an Iris Star. Like, no, like, Lord only knows, right? And so I think this is an excellent win for the chocolate girlies out there, that someone like Orlandria is getting the exposure that she has. And I also think it holds up a mirror to the people who think that they by default should get access to certain things because of their looks, crashing out because someone like an Olandria is running laps around them, right? Like, I look at the other contestants and their IGs, when I tell you, like, they're not nearly doing as much in exposure in the way that Olandria is doing. Like, holy shit. And I really think that Olandria is probably going to be like the cream of the crop next socialite influencer girly. I don't know. If she plays her cards right, and that's going to create a lot of discourse. And I think even on her come up, which is very sad, is that people are still trying to combat the fact or fight the fact that Olandria is an attractive woman. Like, they're trying to bring this girl down, and I don't think that's okay. And I'd also like to add that one of the reasons why I think that we have been so used to seeing a specific beauty standard, for example, like Huda with like the Kim Kardashian dark hair, full lips, fat ass type of aesthetic, right? Is because that aesthetic is very niche and it's specific to the male gaze. And so when I say they, like the people who are like in control of the beauty standard, I high key mean men, okay? Because like, when you look at it, like even in the entertainment industry and music, how patriarchal men are in that industry, yet they're not, like, especially nowadays, they're not the ones with the stellar, awesome, amazing, larger than life performances. As a matter of fact, the top 3 pop artists for a minute have all been women, with the exception of like The Weeknd maybe and Justin Bieber. But like, women like actually run the entertainment industry. 2 of the most influential music icons are women. You know what I mean? It's very easy for women to congregate and build community online, and for people to build support off of them, you know what I mean? But like, I think that what's happening is that we're seeing a shift from the beauty standard of women now like thinking and being like, is the Kim Kardashian BBL aesthetic attractive to me, or is this something that they're spoon feeding to me and convincing me is attractive because, you know, resources and exposure, I guess is a one way to put it, right? And I think this might change how we go ahead and consume media. I also feel like the internet, especially during the time of like the light skin v dark skin conversations, right? Which is big on my end, right? Yeah, the light skin versus dark skin conversations are gross. Fun fact, if you want your makeup to last really long and look professional, between your cream products and your powder products, make sure you are putting on setting spray and then end with a fixing spray, okay? That'll make your makeup look like it's lasting for like forever. So I think it's going to reveal to a lot of people that they're actually not attracted or like into the things that the internet, social media, the male gaze has told them that they were into, right? Like, I think people are gonna start realizing, well, no, actually, this is pretty attractive. I also find it very interesting that people cannot believe that someone like a Nick would want to be with someone like an Olandria. A lot of folks are like, oh, this Nick dude is trying to use Olandria, which, like, low key, if that's the thing, like, this is a reality TV dating show. So if that's actually happening, like that's to be expected. Like, how do I put this? I'm not surprised that someone from a reality TV dating show is actually using another person that they met on a reality TV dating show. But like, so many people want to like end the illusion of Nick Olandria, that this like Latino attractive man actually is really into Olandria or is perceived to be into her, which I believe that he's like, at this point, like, he's absolutely like most definitely probably into that girl, right? Like, but at the same time, people just want to take her down a peg because I don't think that they want to see her win, you know, because then their idea of what beauty is, the male standard of what beauty is, which is like, you know, the preference, now they have to like sit with themselves and realize, oh, like, I might not be preferred this time around. I might not be the more desirable person. And like, that's like, socially, that's not always true, right? Like, socially, that isn't accurate. Like, the lighter you are, it's still like the more accolades, like the more you get like attention on you and the more you get celebrated for attractiveness, right? Like, that's still a thing. But I think because the pretty privilege isn't working to those who think that they demand it, right, or are entitled to it, I think those people don't know how to handle it. And I think if we can like race-wise, especially like with white girls, some insecure non-POC women might feel a way over someone like a Nick choosing someone like an Olandria, right? Like, I think about when FK Twigs was dating Robert Pattinson and a bunch of white girls just like freaked out because FK Twigs was dating him. And it's like, yes, girl, like, the dude that you're into can like me too, and it doesn't mean that he doesn't like you. It's just like, it'll be okay, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think people are not okay with the fact that Olandria might change some stuff, that Olandria might change the standard for a lot of them. People are not okay with the fact that Olandria is also very like clean cut, like she looks like a Barbie, okay? Like, and she is, from what I assume, is media trained. And I think that the standard of beauty for that reason, if things go successful for Olandria and she's able to sell products and stuff, the standard of beauty is going to change rapidly. So I think this is going to be an interesting shift in beauty standards to see what it's going to look like when Olandria really takes off. Because out of all of them, she's winning, girl. So yes, we are Team Olandria over here. She can do no wrong in my eyes. I'm barely on Instagram, but I immediately gave that girl a follow when I saw her. And I'm happy for her. And it's just really sad to see people try to trigger someone like an Olandria. But it feels nice to see people support Olandria in the name of just liking her as a person. Coming to terms with the fact that, yeah, she's cute and yeah, she's desirable and yeah, people want her. Like, I love that win for her. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have to shave my mustache. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, moving on. Okay, that's good enough. It's spooky season, right, guys? Girls, guys, bays and gays, right? Like, Halloween is coming right around the corner. I know it's like the 20th of September and we still got some September left, but like, it's gonna be October and it's about to get real, okay? I'm pretty sure the Spirit Halloween stores are up and all of that. I have been adamant and very festive in celebrating Halloween. I don't know if I'll be able to go to any Halloween parties this year because of is big bro, but that's okay. I have been sitting at home, watching horror movies, and usually I'm not a horror movie type of girl. I think what started like my horror movie interest was watching American Horror Story and really liking the idea of them recycling the cast, like reusing the same cast members to tell like a new story that had a common like horror trope or theme, right? And then eventually American Horror Story got bad, and then my anxiety got really, really bad with the pandemic, and I could not digest horror anymore. And then I always talk about, and I think this video is still spotlighted on my channel about how I couldn't finish Nope 2 or 3 years later because of just that one scene of everyone getting eaten by Jean Jacket. It still with me to this day. Don't ask me to watch that scene. I probably won't. Like that's where we're at with it. I didn't expect someone like Jordan Peele to go there, right? I didn't expect it to be that, like, on some Ari Aster levels of uncomfortable, right? But then two, I don't do well with like man-eating cosmic horror bullshit. You know what I mean? And then especially like with the alien, like the Jean Jacket looks like an alien UFO, like an unidentifiable object that you think that people that are getting sucked up into, like there's a ship in that, right? And like the whole concept of Jean Jacket actually not being a ship and actually this big entity that's just eating people was terrifying to me, right? But I have been watching a lot of horror movies, and some of the horror like categories I have, because there are different type of categories, right, is like weird girl horror. And when I say weird girl, like horror movies that have commentary on the womanhood experience and womanhood and whatnot. That is my shit. Like I didn't think that I would love it so much, but I am having such a fun time watching those types of movies. So I'm talking about, you know, Jennifer's Body. Jennifer's Body was definitely a movie that, you know, got mixed reviews when it released because everybody thought it was going to sexualize Megan Fox, but in reality it's like an honest to God experience of like woman relationships and friendships, right? And then like how the horror and the Madonna are treated, not just in horror movies, but like in general, right? And how like the sacrificing of the virgin trope just was kind of flipped on its head because, spoiler, in the movie Jennifer's Body, she gets sacrificed, but she isn't a virgin, so she turns into a succubus, right? Which I think is a cool concept. Even down to Lisa Frankenstein. Frankenstein is now one of my favorite monsters, and I think the Universal Studios Monsters Unleashed ride, because I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the height, the fact that Frankenstein animatronic is 9 feet tall, but I've just had an attraction towards Frankenstein ever since. But just like the concept of Lisa Frankenstein and what it was trying to say, and just kind of how they hit the 1989 type of aesthetic right on the nose. Even though it wasn't horror, I thought it was very interesting. But I think one movie that I was hesitant to watch that has now become my favorite movie that I will probably watch nonstop, and I'm talking probably dress up for Halloween as next year, is The Substance. I loved The Substance. It was so good. To think that they put this movie up for an Oscar, I believe, like Demi Moore like put the movie up so that she can win an Oscar for like best film or whatever. Anora won over The Substance, right? Like, because Quiet as It's Kept, Anora wasn't that good, girl. I was so confused as to why people were hyping up the Anora movie. It was fun, but it wasn't like, Zola did it better. But like The Substance, oh my, I have never had so much fun watching a horror movie in my life. And I was hesitant to watch it because I don't do well with body horror. Man-eating shit and body horror is not my bread and butter. Like, I don't do well with that type of stuff. I kind of do well with hauntings, but like when the body horror makes sense, right, where it has something to say about like Elizabeth Sparkle, the main character's desperation and looking beauty, that she's willing to preserve this avatar, better version of herself in the form of an avatar that's like literally sucking the life out of her to make her look even more worn and haggard. Ultimately, for this avatar, when it is dilapidating, to turn into this ugly AF, like body horrific Steven Universe fusion of the two characters. Like, it just makes so much sense. Even the ending, where I felt they were kind of paying homage to Carrie, which is like #1 peak weird girl horror. Like, if you're trying to get into like that like woman experience, girlhood experience, like how awful puberty can be, like I think Carrie is like a #1 wreck, right? That movie was amazing, and I'll probably buy it. I think on Etsy you can buy the little Substance package where it has like the activator and the instructions like as like a movie memorabilia. Probably gonna get that, and I'm probably gonna watch the movie again. I'm absolutely gonna be up there watching the movie on repeat. Buy the movie, get the poster. That is one of my favorite movies, and I don't know, I think this might be the beginning of me really getting into the horror movie genre. I've been watching a lot of horror movies and I like them, and I think that something like horror has been very undermined in like, I feel like in like Academy Award, because of just how, what I feel like people think horror like just doesn't take itself seriously, or how extra it can be or ridiculous. Like, for example, like The Terrifier. You're not gonna catch me watching The Terrifier. I read a summary of what happens in The Terrifier, and I was just like, I didn't even make it halfway through the summary where I was like, absolutely not. Art the Clown is having a moment on at Halloween Horror Nights, but it's just like, it won't be me. I'm not going into The Terrifier. House of a Thousand Corpses, I'm not doing that shit either. Like I don't think that's the type of horror that I'm into, right? The gore absolutely has to make sense. The gore and the body horror has to make sense as to why it's happening. I hear that Grafted, that movie from New Zealand, is like that. The gore and the body horror makes sense as to why the character is doing what they're doing. I'll probably give that a watch. But like House of a Thousand Corpses, The Terrifier, people just getting tortured? Nah, probably not. There is a horror movie out called Eden of Paradise or Garden of Eden, where it's kind of like the gore levels of The Terrifier or of House of a Thousand Corpses, where people are getting tortured, but they have something to say about why the people are getting tortured, right? I might watch that, but like, you know, I can only take body horror in doses. Like I said, I'm more of like a haunting type of girl, like weird culturally shit. Robert Eggers, I really like his stuff too. So like The Witch and The Lighthouse and Nosferatu. I love Nosferatu. I can watch Nosferatu again. I might watch it today. That's another good movie that I like. But I'm not really like a cut him up and watch him bleed and torture. Like I said, there has to be a reason behind it. You know what I mean? But that's just like my preference. If you're into torture movies, good for you. I watched Ready or Not, and I would say that the rich people in Ready or Not weren't really tortured per se, but like it was fun to see them all blow up at the end of the movie. So spoilers. I don't know. I think because The Substance was also directed by a woman, right? And my favorite horror movies, like Jennifer's Body is also one of my favorite horror movies too, has also been directed by a woman too. We need more women in horror. Swarm was co-created or co-written with, I had the funnest time watching Swarm, the miniseries about like the Beyonce stan, right? Like I really like that one. There's so many horrific things that happen with the woman experience that like nobody, like we don't have a lot of people actually talking about and discussing and making commentaries on it. And I think more women need to. I love Diablo Cody's work, and I love the director's work for The Substance. So yes. Moving on. So I went to the Cowboy Carter tour. I know I'm like, because the Cowboy Carter tour ended in July, so I'm like a couple weeks late, or like maybe like a good 8 to 10 weeks late. But girl, I went and I had the time of my life. It was so good. First of all, it was my first Beyonce concert ever. I had been a fan of Beyonce since I was like a child, a youngling, right? Like she was the first album that I listened to where my parents didn't want me listening to any secular music. And I remember one of my friends on the bus ride, like snuck me over like Beyonce's self-titled album, was like, here, just listen to it. And it was so good. Oh my God. But like, I always wanted to go to a Beyonce concert ever since I saw her perform in Coachella, right? So I went to this one, and y'all, it just really makes me appreciate how that era of like music and pop and entertainment is going to be heavily missed in the future. We are co-signing mediocrity, I believe. I don't mean to sound like a boomer with it, but like, because I remember when my family members would be like, oh, so-and-so cannot sing, she sounds horrible. But like now more than ever, especially with the rise of the internet and people like wanting to latch on to relatability more than they want to latch on to talent, we are in a crisis where like a lot of the new and up and coming artists are low-key like not hitting the way they need to. I'd say it is amazing that's like Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, and Chappell Roan have been able to get as big as they have. But even then, I could be critical of like for example, Sabrina Carpenter's vocals aren't all the way there. Charlie XCX was never, like, even though her vocals are good, I don't even think she was never really known to be like a vocal powerhouse. Chappell Roan is probably one of like when I think pop star, I think of her. Same with like Lady Gaga, as she has had a resurgence, and she has been doing phenomenal with her performances. I gotta see her performance for the VMAs for Abracadabra. I think the newer girls and like some girls that I'm not gonna say names that I feel like really, in my humblest opinion, probably shouldn't be taking up as much space as they do in the pop conversation, but I understand why they're there. I think like someone like a Beyonce, a Lady Gaga reminds me, even Ariana Grande, they really let me know that like, ooh, no, that era of pop stardom might be dwindling down. It might just like, we are probably going to see more Addison Rae's and Tate McRae's than we are going to see Zara Larson's. And that sucks for the sole reason of, oh, well, she was on TikTok. Oh, she's so relatable. Oh, she's so real. And even then, like, Tate McRae isn't really that relatable. It just seems like the label is trying to push her into spaces that I don't think people really want to see her in. Like, you know, like she's just being shoved down our throats. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm just saying I'm gonna miss Beyonce when she retires. You know what I mean? Right? Like, and also like with Blue, she's doing, like, I feel like she's doing such a great job with her, even though the like mainstream media wants to do everything in their power to yet again humble another Black woman for whatever reason, or a young Black girl for whatever reason, by calling her too grown or looking too inappropriate. And it's like she's just tall, like she's not grown at all. I've never seen any outfit on her where she looks inappropriate at all. She just looks like she looks like a tall 13-year-old. Like that's all it is, right? So it's just very unfortunate for her. But speaking of which, to move on to the next topic, I would say that the way Beyonce's raising Blue Ivy is probably the way you should Nepo baby, right? Like, I think she's Nepo babying correctly. Whereas someone like a Kim K, because like a couple weeks back, Kim had a picture, there was a picture of Northwest in like a corset and a mini skirt. And, you know, I'm not going to sit up here and like, you know, stay at a child's place, But like, what I will say is that unfortunately, it's not surprising because, you know, the next step for that empire is to usher in the new generation of influencers for the Kardashians, right? Like Kim has been, okay? Has a lot of money, very wealthy, but like who's really checking for the Kardashian show like that? And when I haven't seen a skimmed advertisement since God knows how long, right? I'm pretty sure Kim understands that her time is, you know, up. And then Kylie Jenner is nowhere to be seen, right? Like she was the next girl to take on the mantle after Kim. Nowhere to be seen. I just see Northwest being shoved into spaces by both her mom and her dad, where I feel like she's not either ready for or really should just like not be there, right? Because you really should not be putting your kid centerfold for a Broadway type of performance in LA if you know damn well your kid can't sing. Like, I think it's almost embarrassing for you not to invest in your child and to just throw money at them to be like, you want to be at the front of the Lion King, you want to be singing at the Lion King at this LA Bowl, then go right ahead, go do it, you know, like without giving them the proper like tools, the vocal training, the choreography training, or whatever they need to be exposed that way. I think that's very harmful to a kid because it doesn't teach them the effort of hard work, right? And I look at someone like Blue Ivy and the way Beyonce is raising her. Beyonce absolutely prioritizes work ethic, and she's absolutely like, you are not going to embarrass me. Like, I remember watching the Renaissance movie and she literally said, like, I need her to perform to her optimum level because like she can't be out here embarrassing me. It was already bad enough when she was born and everyone compared her to Jay-Z or said that she was ugly and all of this stuff, right? Either she does the choreography right for the Black Parade segment of the Renaissance tour, or she just doesn't. Like, we just like, she just won't be on stage, you know what I mean? And I respect it because it builds character in your child. And I would say out of the Nepo children, the next generation of Nepo children that are out now, I would say that Beyonce is doing it right. She's just not it doesn't feel like she's handing Blue any and everything that she wants just because they have money and she's Beyonce. It's like, no, you want to be a part of this Cowboy Carter tour where you're going to have to work with the rest of the team and you're going to have to learn the choreography and you're going to have to be stellar. Like, you can't be subpar, you know, you got to be on it since we're on tour. Like, they are really preparing her for like whatever future she wants, whether she wants to sing or dance or act, you know what I mean? Like, they're giving her that exposure to be ready for whatever happens with her career in the future, instead of just like letting her be seen in spaces where she probably shouldn't be in because she's not qualified. I think it's a bigger conversation about like parents who want to buy the happiness of their children and pay their children through what needs to have work ethic or what requires some form of work ethic, versus the parents who are, no, we're going to teach you the lesson of hard work, the value of hard work, putting in your time, putting in that energy that you need to, so that when it finally comes to fruition, so that when you're finally ready for your big moment, your big break, or whatever is going on, you have something to show for it. You're not just more or less embarrassing yourself, right? Another good example that comes to mind is Aunt Becky and Olivia Jade, and how it basically came out that a lot of wealthy people were paying their children's way through these Ivy League or these high prestigious schools. And while I was watching that, I was so confused because Aunt Becky went to jail for that, as she should have, right? Aunt Becky from Full House, right? That she was doing like some under the table, you know, if I pay this person, they can like fabricate some stories to make my kid look like they are more qualified than they should be for this college, right? I think that it never made sense to me, if you had money as a parent, for you to just pay your kids way through an opportunity, instead of like paying for your kids' lessons and tutoring and extracurricular activities, or like, you know, if they need a mentor so that they know what to prepare for college, so that when they finally do apply for the college that they're getting into, they're qualified because they actually put in the work ethic, right? Not only are they qualified for this college, but then when they get out into the real world, they know how to function. You know, they don't think that things are just going to be handed to them, right? Like they'll actually have the work ethic needed. If they want to start a company, they'll know what that takes, right? And I think that unfortunately we didn't see that with Aunt Becky and Olivia Jade and all of that, and all the parents who like literally bought their kids' way into these colleges. But I think the same thing goes for like a lot of these Nepo children as well. You can't buy these kids' way into the hearts of like the masses, right? And I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I think because the Kardashians have money, they're just going to make it seem like, you know, like North is like the next it girl. I can see her being like a Lori Harvey type of girl. The better result of like a Northwest is that at best is she ends up like Lori Harvey, and she gets like these opportunities, and like she's like this classy it girl, right? At worst, she ends up crashing out, not with her mom like that. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen. But again, I think it starts with you not raising your kid to understand the value of hard work and putting in that effort and letting them know what hard work looks like. You know what I mean? So I like, after watching the tour and seeing Blue Ivy perform, I think Beyonce did an excellent job in instilling good work ethic in her. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what that means for her in the future. But like, we can see her probably, I personally think I could see her doing like really big things as a creative, or as someone in the entertainment industry, maybe like a Tiana Taylor type, you know what I mean? But like, even with Tiana Taylor, it feels like her family really like instilled like a work ethic in her to have like a vision of what she's looking for as an artist. So Cardi B. I don't dance now. I'm like, money. Her album dropped, and I listened to a few songs, and I'm not gonna lie, the album isn't bad. The album's pretty good. Like I'm not gonna lie. So far from what I heard, it's not bad. Like I with it, you know what I mean? But here's the thing, okay? And I might sound like a little haterade for saying this, but I think we make a lot of excuses for Miss Cardi. And it might be her team being able to like switch up the narrative depending on like what's going on with her and her personal life. But here's the thing. Cardi B has done a lot for women in hip hop in regards to, and when I say a lot, like hold on a second, Barbs, relax. I mean, like, she was really the one who truly paved the way for see, I'm giving her too much credit. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm just being honest here. Cardi B showcased to a lot of these record labels that you can build up a lucrative female rapper act if you wanted to, okay? And she also did reach out and offer olive branches for new and upcoming artists that look like they were going to be hot in the trajectory of the hip hop space. Those things are true, right? But also at the same time, I don't think it was fair to Nicki and her, and I don't really with Nicki at all, or any other rap girlie who had their moment in the sun, to be comparing Cardi B to the same amount of like work ethic that someone like a Nicki Minaj put in, to the same amount of effort someone like a Nicki Minaj put in. And like, don't worry, I'm gonna get into Miss Onika in a second, right? But I personally feel like, with all due respect and with all peace and love, when we tried to hype Cardi B up to be at the same status as someone like a Nicki, I think it really put a damper on her career, and it really affected how she would be like wanting to be perceived in the mainstream media, especially when you take out all the fluff of what is required from a Cardi B act, okay? And so what I mean by fluff is, I mean that Cardi B is a high maintenance performer. She required a lot of budget in order to be able to, you know, come out in the mainstream and push her music in the way that she did, okay? That's what I mean. You think about her music videos like Money, I Don't Dance, Bodak Yellow, Up, WAP with Megan Thee Stallion. A lot of those music videos are incredibly big budget, right? And if you were to take away a lot of the fluff of those videos, then I don't think we would really be into the music as much. I also understand now that, like, and she has admitted this, that she has a lot of ghostwriters that help her write her music. She has a whole team of ghostwriters. The reason why Cardi B is like can't do a hiss like Megan Thee Stallion, I believe in my hardest of hearts, is because she needs a team of ghostwriters to help her write a song. That's what she needs, right? She cannot just write a song off rip, right? She can't do a Doechii and, you know, make a whole mixtape and just like write songs and like rap, or a Megan where she only needs like maybe one or two producers. She needs a lot of upkeep in order to make her seem as if she can go toe to toe with some of these rap girls. We can kind of see like how this has impacted her, because fast forward to today where she has dropped her album, some of the songs are good. We'll wait and see how the media perceives the album, right? But during this whole rollout, she has not been confident in the music that she has put out in this album. She has mentioned several times how she's very hesitant in like rolling out the album herself, because she just feels like she just gets anxiety pushing the songs out and whatnot. And then we saw like Imaginary Players and how that song came out, and then how the music video came out. And I think the veil low-key had been lifted from Cardi B and her whole brand, that we all realized maybe we should not have hyped her up as much as we should have. And the core reason why we probably really wanted Cardi B to come up in the way that she did is because we were all tired of Nicki Minaj's antics, right? Like, I think we need to be honest with ourselves with that, because Cardi B peers are probably that of like a Saweetie and an Ice Spice, okay? Like, no tea, no shade. Like, Love and Hip Hop were always her peers. She never gave hip hop, right? And like, we see it now, especially when you have artists like Megan Thee Stallion, who's out here dropping album after album, you know, coming up with cool new concepts, you know, really taking on like that marketing aesthetic. We probably should not have put Cardi at the pedestal that we put her on. The best thing that she's done is she has put on some smaller artists or newer and upcoming artists that were making waves. I would argue, like, on the lowest of keys, I would argue that she probably might have done that to maintain relevancy. When you are that high maintenance of an artist, where you need a lot of outside parties to really develop a vision of like who you are as a creative, you kind of do need to latch onto the next new girl in order to maintain relevancy, to have your name talking. You probably do need to get on the song Put It on the Floor by Lotto and make subtle shots at Onika, because you don't have a single of your own to stand on, right? You probably need to get on to Glorilla's Tomorrow 2 remix, because again, you don't have a single or a rollout to stand on. And now we're here where, like I said, some of the music is good, right? On Am I the Problem, her sophomore album. I think what I'm predicting because I haven't listened to the whole album, that it's probably going to sound dated, and that it's probably not going to be her best work. It's probably going to wake a lot of people up to, okay, we gave this girl a little bit more credit than we should have. She's also gotten into some controversies with, like the fat positivity, the body positive crowd, with that controversy with Samira and the 3XL and the comments she was making, and her doubling down and being like, well, I'm not gonna apologize. I don't feel like I need to apologize, and all of that, for making like those fat phobic comments. And to that I say, when someone like a Cardi B positions themselves as an outspoken, almost like to an extent, like politically correct type of figure, like she's always been on the right side of history with her commentary, when you present yourself like that, you do look kind of ignorant, not wanting to do the work or do the reading as to why some of your comments might be fat phobic. But again, that's because you positioned yourself as like, an activist, and then you thwart the conversation away from, we don't need to worry about fat positivity, we need to worry about, what's going on politically. Like, that's a little disrespectful. So you got that. And then on top of all of that, she is surprise pregnant again, even though she had her recent baby with Offset, God knows, like a couple months back, right? Her baby's like 1 year old, right? I don't know what's going on with that. I really don't. I don't know why she just like keeps getting pregnant, but maybe it's because she doesn't want to go on tour. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like with Cardi B and her success and all of that, not to sound rude, but it probably could have been anybody. Megan, if she played her cards right, it really could have been any girl who was willing to actually like go toe to toe with Onika and like challenge the Barbs. You know what I mean? And to an extent, Megan did like eventually like challenge Nicki and did go up against the Barbs and all of that. But it just like, I don't think Cardi was this big, like should have been awarded like the opportunity she had, and even the excuses that are made for her from time to time. For example, her being in court and cracking all those jokes, right? Like, sure, they're funny, but it's also like, girl, I just think about like if any other girl, like if Megan did that, like y'all wouldn't take it seriously, right? Like, I don't know. I know some black women, because Cardi B isn't black, will argue that like Cardi like isn't even a black woman, yet she does like the black person, the black woman like hood rat cosplay in order to maintain relevancy to her audience. But they're like hood Latinas, so I can't build a case on that, right? But I don't know. I think after this album, she's probably going to take a break. I don't think she's really going to, like, really hungry for music in the way that she always was. And it always was a tool for her to make more money. I don't think she ever was serious about music in the way that we all wanted her to be. And I think a lot of the people that some of y'all give hate to, I think that a lot of y'all who really want, like, that hip-hop sound and aesthetic, I think you guys probably got to, like, look at those women. Because I don't think Cardi B's going to get it for you. So I don't know, but I'll listen to this album and listen to my thoughts. But yeah, maybe she'll just be a feature artist. But like I said, her peers are the Love and Hip Hop Squad and Saweetie. Her peers should have probably low-key never been Nicki. Like that, like, even though we don't like Nicki, no. Like, I don't like Onika, but, like, one thing you're not going to tell me is that she can't rap and that she didn't put that work in. Like, that's something that you can't tell me, unfortunately. I wish you could, but, like, you cannot. So, yes. All right, so next topic. So while we're on the topic of female rappers, and since they've been going at each other's necks for God knows how long, Nicki, okay? Yeah, you thought that I was gonna just tear Miss Cardi B, Bella Khali's a new one? No, Onika is on my shit list too. Nicki's a mean girl, okay? I need the Barbs to get out of Delulu land, and I need them to be honest with themselves. Y'all's queen is a mean girl. She is mean. She is not nice, and she is used to being the only one. She wants to be the only one. Queen of hip hop, No one is going to take that title away from her. They can't even be princess of hip hop for her. Like, she is very much so a part of the problem with why female hip hop like evolved in the way it did, right? Why it took so long for other female hip hop artists to take off, right? Because high key, she was comfortable in being like the only girl. And then as we see more and more artists come out, and how she beefs and falls out with every damn one, especially the girls that she has featured, right? You see that like she don't like these bitches. She don't, and maybe she's low-key traumatized by the music industry. Maybe she feels like this is on code for what you need to do. Maybe she's still clinging on to the idea and concept of like the patriarchal structure of hip-hop and the entertainment industry and all of that. But like, I need us all to wake up and understand, especially the Barbs, that this girl is mean, okay? Y'all's queen is mean. She is gaslighting you. She's also using you for like who she wants to support, who's ever willing to do like her bidding or her dirty work for like whatever it girl rapper that she hates, right? Like she's not a nice person, bro. She's not. And I think it especially held true when she just randomly out of nowhere just came for SZA for no reason, who isn't even a hip hop artist. And that's when I was like, all right, girl, I'm done. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, what Zach Campbell even said, like, girl, you need to get it together, because this is like, I am done with you. And Zach Campbell is like the king of like commentary, like celebrity female rap, female music commentary. If he's sitting up here telling y'all he's done, then girl, he is done. Like, we are done. I am done with that girl, because what did SZA do exactly? What did that woman do exactly to piss you off, outside of say how Mercury's in retrograde and prance through forests with shrooms and shit? Like, what did she do? What was she supposed to do? Why do you keep going off on every single person demanding loyalty when the people that you surpassed when you were on the come up, you gave no loyalty to whatsoever? Little Kim even told us this when you were at your prime. She is a mean girl. She wants to be the only one. She told us this, okay? And like, nobody wanted to believe it. Everyone was like, oh no, but she's like putting girls on and I don't understand. Now you see that now when she's on the come down, which technically she isn't, she had an excellent run with the Pink Friday 2 tour. I don't know why she's acting stank now, right? Now y'all see that this girl is not nice. I've noticed also she doesn't want to work with a woman who she sees as like doing better than her, right? I don't think I could ever see her working with like a Doechii, and a Doja Cat moment was just like an opportunity for her to like at least be on the billboard and maybe like beef with Beyonce or whatever the you know what I mean? Like, she gives like, if you don't lick the inner crevices of my asshole when I tell you to lick it, you. Like, that's what she gives. And if you don't defend me in the way I think you need to defend me, even if you're not a hip-hop girl, fuck you too. Like, I think Azalea Banks put it perfectly. Like, her beef is probably with these labels, which has nothing to do with a lot of these hip-hop girls. That's her beef, is that these labels, like Rock Nation or whatever the wants to get the Nicki Minaj impact from a lot of their artists, probably. But like, she takes it out on these girls. Ice Spice and Lotto dropped Yacht. I guess they squashed their beef that the two of them were going through, which I never understood what the beef was actually. Like, I don't know what they were beefing for, but I just knew people wanted them to go against each other. Again, I for whatever reason, I think it's Onika's doing. I'm blaming Onika for that one. Lotto, she really wanted to be the new princess of hip hop, right? Like, she wanted to be crowned by Nicki. She loved that woman. And Nicki wasn't having it because I don't even know. But here's the thing. Okay. The Yacht song came out. They squashed their beef. The bars were good. Lotto, like she ate up Ice. Like, she did a really good job. Lotto can rap. Like, everyone forgets that Lotto can rap, even though I feel like her personality isn't that engaging. One thing Lotto does well is like, she can rap her ass off, right? So kudos to Lotto for that. Right? But the song was just good. And I know Ice Spice is trying to make a comeback, but I think it's too late for her, I fear. I think, and all this came out about Cleotrapa, and then Baby Stormy, and then like what she said about other artists, and then like her losing the Barb fandom. Like, she lost the Barbs after it came out that she was saying all this crazy shit about them. I don't think we're gonna see Ice Spice kick back in the way that we want her to. And then even everything she stood for, you know, being a girl's girl and all that, she had a lot going for her that she kind of ruined for herself. And then unfortunately for Lotto, because I actually really like Lotto and I like that she can rap well, but I just don't think she has something that stands out. And so them squashing their beef just feels like crickets. Even when they were beefing, it felt like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, I don't even know what they're really beefing about. So I'm glad that it's squashed. I'm glad that they've taken care of it. They look really, really good in the Yacht music video, and Lotto has some good bars. Ice's flow is pretty steady, but it's just, oh girl, I'm just a little over it. Like, I didn't really know what to do with the music video. It was nice to look at. So kudos to them, I guess, for squashing their beef. But I don't know. I think we're entering like this new phase of hip hop, and I don't know if either one of them are gonna really be a part of it in the way that they want to, unless the branding is like A1, you know what I mean? And I don't know. And even then, it always felt like Ice Spice was like desirable for like dudes. Like, I think people put the girls girl like persona onto her. Like, maybe her team did it because like there wasn't really much to pull from an Ice Spice really, but also because like she's a pretty girl. I feel like some girls kind of get blinded by attractive women where they're like, I want her to be my friend, and you don't even know if this girl is nice. I don't know, but we'll have to see. I feel like Ice Spice came into existence to like antagonize Lotto and Cardi B, and I feel like Lotto is talented but isn't gonna get the same like accolades like Megan or Cardi B. It seems like I don't know how she stands out as an artist. Like, I feel like she lumps in with the Cardi B's, the Megans, all of that. Like, outside of her being an ATL girl, like, what else is there, you know? But I like that she's an ATL girl, you know what I mean? Because then you have Pluto. She's also from Atlanta, you know? I hope my lips don't look too square. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. Hey guys, this is Editing Exis here. I just wanted to let you guys know that there is a content warning for this bumper. I will be talking about topics such as body dysmorphia, cosmetic surgery, and the intricacies behind that. So if that is something that does make you uncomfortable, please, by all means, skip to 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 12 seconds if it is triggering. Enjoy. All right, so I've been talking about this a lot on my live stream, but I'm on a diet. I'm dieting mostly to curb better eating habits, but also because I'm human. I do want to look a certain way. I do want to lose some weight, maybe like about 20 pounds or so, but I'm really trying to prioritize like health and how that feels over like aesthetics. However, it's going to sound very ironic when I say something like this, but I have been doing some thinking. I have been doing some heavy thinking and soul searching. And I think in the next couple of years, if I am financially sound and ready to, I probably might do some cosmetic surgery, girl. Like, I might do it. Okay. Yes, throw rocks at me, throw stones at me.
I thought you said that you weren't a fan of the BBL epidemic and that girls need to stay in their natural.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said. What I said is that we were responsible for the BBL epidemic, right? And I think even now in this constant push towards skinny culture and on the BBL epidemic, I think we've kind of went like from one pendulum of curvy bodies, fatter bodies, BBL bodies being acceptable, to the other pendulum of being like unrealistically skinny, starving yourself, not eating the amount of protein that you need in order to look a certain way, right? And I feel like the same people who are at women who go under the knife to surgically modify themselves are also the same women who will call girls who do not have a desirable figure boxcars or refrigerators, okay? And so I think personally, I still stand 10 toes down on we are still responsible for the BBL epidemic. Absolutely. That is our doing. So we got Honey Love. What should I use for this lip combo? Where is the other one? Very Sexy, is that what it's called? Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. See what it looks like, because this is my natural lip color. That's what I got it. Very Sexy from MAC. Yeah, this works, but my lips are dry. It's okay, I'm gonna fix it. Ooh, and also the tone's a little weird, don't you think? Yeah, because it's very warm up here, and this is very like pink and like my natural lip color, so I might go back in with Honey Love. All right, yeah, so I have decided that you know, I'm not getting any younger. I do want my body to look a certain way. I'm probably open to the idea of cosmetic surgery as long as it looks natural and as long as I have enough money to get it done. If I don't have enough money to get it done, then I'm obviously not going to do it. But I also think that like this constant judgment of women who get their bodies done versus women who don't get their bodies done versus if women are natural versus if women aren't natural and all this other BS and nonsense. I think that it's just not fair to women in general, and we should really just let women exist and live how they want to, okay? And that real talk, we do live in a society, looks do matter. They're not everything, but they absolutely matter. Like 100% leaning on looks, you're always gonna end up getting the short end of the stick, right? But I've just kind of learned that a lot of the IG models I used to follow, right? A lot of them probably got liposuction and they're over here selling like fitness plans and health plans. You know what I mean? People's bodies change. Women's bodies change. When you have babies, your body changes. When you maybe like, you know, you have like PCOS or stuff like that, right? I'm not mad at anybody who decides that they want to handle their body in the way that they want to. And I think for me, more importantly, because I've always been teetering on the idea of why would you change your body? You know, you should stay in your natural versus like, you know what? Like, it, let's just do it. I'm leaning more towards it, let's just do it, because no matter what happens to me or however I'm perceived in the world, it's never going to come correct. I could get no surgery done to myself or not go under the knife for anything. Someone's going to be critical that I look like a boxcar, right? I can go under the knife. Someone's going to be critical and say that I look transgendered, which I'm not even going to get to the deep-rooted transphobia of it all. Y'all out here calling women, biological women, transgendered because they have a look. However, if you did watch the discourse or listen to the discourse between Nene Leakes and T.S. Madison, and then the trans community kind of explaining how a lot of the aesthetics that a lot of the IG baddies have is very like rooted in like transgenderism, there can be some connections, but it's all to basically like masculinize a woman or say that she's not really a natural woman if she gets surgery. At this point, I don't care. I've come to terms with it. Call me like, why won't you stay in your natural? Oh, you're gonna be ugly. Oh, like this is what's wrong with the world. The truth of the matter is, which I'm pretty sure I said this in my BBL video, is that it's not that y'all don't like surgeries. It's that y'all don't like surgeries that don't look good. Okay, because there are plenty of women that you wouldn't even suspect had nose jobs, Botox up the wazoo, BBLs, and they're undetectable as because they probably go to really good surgeons who have worked with different types of bodies that you guys are perfectly okay with and swear up and down that they're natural. No way they're natural, given, you know, they've been doing Pilates or whatever snake oil lie they want to feed you. No, girl, they probably got work done. And then when I say that they've gotten work done, now I sound like a hater. Oh, well, why are you hating? Why are you being a hater? Like why can't you just accept that girls are like naturally that pretty? Because like in the prettiest of prettiest girls probably got some procedure done, especially if they're working in the entertainment industry. Like it's I feel like it's just kind of a part of it, and I think it's not fair for us to have such distinctive thoughts and judgments as to how women decide to choose to what they do with their bodies, right? Y'all don't like surgeries that don't look good. Y'all will eat a surgery up and down or a liposuction or a nose job up and down if it looks good. Especially the nose job when it doesn't give Michael Jackson. I'm sick and tired of y'all. It comes to a point, I'm tired, big on I'm tired, all right? This world is burning, literally and figuratively, by the very minute, all right? I'm gonna put me first, Lucius. If I have the money to do so, I'm probably, if anything, gonna get a skinny BBL or like liposuction. And I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna regret it. This is probably gonna be the only time I talk about this, really, because I've been doing like a lot of soul searching with this. Because I think about even like the girls that I used to see online, and I'd be like, wow, how can I get my body like that? You know, if I just work out really hard at the gym, right? Only to realize like they don't even have a body like that. They got a BBL and they maintained it in the gym, right? This is just what I want to do. Okay, I know that right now I don't, like, I'm broke. I'm big broke. I don't have money to be going under anybody's knife, okay? Let alone like affording like a hydrofacial at most. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on prioritizing my diet first. And then when I get my diet to where I need to and I'm like really advocating for like a very healthy lifestyle, then that's when I'll probably make the decision, okay, what are we gonna do with our body? Like, are you happy with the way your body looks? Do you want to go under the knife? Do you just want to get a gym trainer and see if you can do it on your own? Do you still want to waist train? But at this point, like, this is like me being like real and like vulnerable, right? Like, trigger warning, if this hasn't already been a trigger warning, I've always had like insecurities about my body, like for the longest time, right? And I've worked my ass off to an extent. I would argue I've overworked my ass off, right? And so at this point, girl, dead ass, I just don't care. I really just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, money doesn't solve everything, but it can fix something. I just don't care anymore. And I think it's so real when some girls come out and they're just like, yeah, girl, I just did what I needed to do. Like, I just got my body done. Like, you know what I mean? Advice, I guess I'd say, even though I haven't gotten my body done yet, but like something that I've noticed is especially, oh God, I'm sweating. 1 second. Let me change my shirt. One thing that I noticed about the girls, I hope you can see my hair against this shirt. Maybe I'll get a white shirt. No, I'll keep the black shirt. Ooh, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, just know that in a couple years, if my body be looking like way too tea than it usually does, just know something happened. For this video to go back to it. But yeah, I just stopped caring what people think, dude. I stopped caring about the women who are trying to do it in the name of like, you know, I'm worried about the children and these young girls who are insecure, because I do, like, there is something to be said about that. But at the end of the day, it gets to a point where it's like, girl, you don't care about these young girls. You don't care about these women. You don't care about these people. Like, you're trying to get engagement, and some people genuinely do, but for the most part, a lot of people don't. And you know what? I'm gonna just put me first, you know? One thing I will say, anybody who is getting cosmetic surgery, like, or is thinking about it, even though I'm Ms. Brokey over here, so you probably should take my advice with a grain of salt. I don't think you should get anything done to your body if you can't afford it 3 times over. If your BBL costs like 10K, right? And 10K is a lot for you to save, and you can't afford like to get the extra stuff that comes with it, like the nursing care, the doctor, and all of that. Like, you can't afford that, right? I don't think you should get it. I don't think you should get any cosmetic surgery for that matter. Okay, so that's like a non-negotiable for me, is like, I have to get my money up if I were to get it. But like, if you're thinking about getting it and you can't even afford, like, you know, that surgery twice over, I wouldn't, because if goes wrong and you have to go under the knife for a round 2, or they like really fuck up your body, like, you're gonna be really upset if you have to, like, you know, live with your body as is. And I guess that's another fear I have, which is why I'm incredibly hesitant, like, even now, to like consider it, like, now, especially now, because I have to get my diet right. Another thing is that, like, make sure you're maintaining it if you do get it as well. Like, you can't just get the body and be like, I'm happy now, I'm done. Like, no, you probably have to go to the gym. You probably have to eat healthy. You probably have to work out, which is why for myself, I'm taking a lot of time in getting it. Like, I'm probably not going to get it until like 5 years from now, or get any sort of cosmetic surgery from like until like 5 years from now, when I've learned how to eat properly, how to eat all of my protein, because it's still a new process for me. Even though I've been working out for years, I've never gotten to a point where I'm just eating better, right? Like, the food portion has always been bad for me, so I gotta wait till I get to that point and then consider like cosmetic if I want to. Also, more importantly, I don't know, like, I think this is like some big sis advice, okay? Make sure you're not doing anything, whether it's like changing up your body, dyeing your hair, any of that type of shit for a man, okay? Make sure you're doing it for yourself, because you want to, because that's what you want to do. This is absolutely for myself, okay? Like, I could care less what these men think. I could care less if they're like, I like a girl that's natural. Nigga, I don't care. I'm not even thinking about you and what you think is natural, okay? Because 9 times out of 10, men think they want one thing and then they want something completely different, or they have the one thing they want and then they want something that's opposite to what they want. Like, I keep thinking about that girl who posted a TikTok about how she used to be an alternative baddie. Her then boyfriend, now husband, basically talked her out of dressing the way she wanted to, with like the you know, colorful lipsticks and like the edgy alternative outfit looks, right? And I keep thinking about that, and how now, fast forward 10 years later, she's a wife, she's his wife, she's toned it down for him because he says that he'd prefer to see her in her natural, right? She's not like the hot goth baddie that he knew. And her husband is over here like lusting after like some alt goth baddie on TV, right? In front of her, leering at her, and she is pissed the off because one, like, why the would you do that in front of your wife? It's rude. But she's like, I used to dress like this. I used to dress like this. I used to wear makeup like this, and you weren't into it. And now that you see this woman on TV, now you're into it. Like what happened? Like, I did all of this because of what you wanted. Like, I stripped my identity for you. Okay. Moral of the story, a lot of these men don't know what they want. So please, if anything, don't like, if you're going to do anything to your body, especially something as dangerous as like any cosmetic surgery where you're going under the knife and you're just sedated, please don't do it for some dude. Please don't do it for some dude. It's never worth it. It's never worth it. He's gonna be up here, oh, I love your BBL, babe. Oh, I love your Botox face, babe. And then in the DMs of like regular face girl, rectangular shaped woman. Nothing wrong with my rectangular shape. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the rectangles, okay? I can't pull off certain looks that rectangular shaped women could, but it's not worth it, girl. It's not worth it. Don't be like, don't be caring what these men want. And don't be caring what these women are like trying to tell you like what you want to do with your body. It's your body, okay? It took me years to come to terms with this, but I think especially with how the BBL movement, like the BBL epidemic movement evolved from like, we're genuinely concerned about girls going overseas and getting shitty BBL botch jobs and dying under the table, to like, oh, well, if you get a BBL, you might have a BBL smell. Oh, well, if you get a BBL, you're not going to be marriage material. Oh, well, if you get a BBL, people aren't going to take you seriously at work. If you have a health crisis, the doctor is not going to take you seriously. Oh, if you get a BBL, shut up. Shut up. It was never about you actually worrying about the health of these women. And it was always because, one, either you couldn't afford the procedure and get it, or two, you wanted to feel somehow superior to the girls who were curvy shaped. Because now you're sitting up here, you're poking and you're prodding and you're harassing the BBL women, okay? And then the goalpost shifts from don't get the BBL to the girls who are naturally built that way. Oh, well, you need to lose the weight anyway. Oh, well, you're too fat. Like, bro, just be secure in your body, and whatever body modifications you decide to do, whether it's as like non-extreme as like dyeing your hair, or whether it's as extreme as like changing your body, just make sure you're doing it for yourself and not for anybody else. Because at the end of the day, it's absolutely not worth it. It's not worth the hassle of constantly trying to appease people. And I wouldn't be shocked or surprised to see a lot of y'all's faves get like certain work done. Like I said, there are some people I know for a fact that like they did something. By the way, I don't know if you guys can see, but this is how long my hair has grown. I've been taking my supplements, I've been on my regiment, and I have to say my hair is like, this is the healthiest my hair has ever been. And most of the time I wear my hair like I did throughout this whole entire segment, where I just like keep it up and away and I hide my ends, which is why my ends look so healthy, and I just trim every 6 months. But yeah, my hair has been growing pretty well and I've been very proud of it, and it's just like really, really healthy, which is something I've always wanted. And I don't know, I always think my face is bigger than it actually is because I always keep my head, like my hair like up and away and my ends tucked, right? But I don't know, every time I wear my hair out, my face looks skinnier. So I think that's because I'm just so used to having my hair slicked back. I don't put any gel or too much product on it. I have gone back to hair grease. Shout out to the African hair god for putting everybody on the hair grease. I go back to hair grease and like a moisturizer and go about my day, because a lot of these products really aren't, they're not trying to grow your hair, they're trying to dry your hair out. So, and I have to say, it's been 3 weeks and my hair is still moisturized because I've been using hair grease, so it works. I've been here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know how on earth I'm gonna edit all this madness. Okay, all right, yeah, so TLDR, surgically altercations might be loading in the future, but again, I have to give myself time to see how my body like what's the word, adapts to it, I guess is a good way to put it, right? And like first and foremost, I have to keep up that discipline of keeping myself like healthy and knowing what I need to do to be healthy. So hey, so they're like, Black women are getting terrorized online. Do you guys notice that? Like, we're getting terrorized on the internet. They're trolling us at this point. I've talked about this a lot on my stream, but it seems like every dude that looks like a literal thumb respectfully wants to talk about how they don't prefer us, how they're not into us, how we're ugly, how, you know, we're the least successful, or how we're combative, or how we cuss you out and call you out your name, and all this other foolishness and nonsense, right? And I never like to feed into that too much. How they'll say things like, oh, Black women aren't really good managers, which isn't true. They'll say all this type of nonsense, right? And at the end of the day, I need y'all to understand, other Black women who are watching this, okay? There's an attack going on to demoralize us and to insult and demean us. And I need us all to come together and understand that that's like it is engagement for people online, especially, to say disparaging things about us because they know we're going to react to it, okay? We're going to react to it. We're going to make commentaries, think pieces and dissertations about it. And they still get like the notoriety they need. They get the notoriety and the attention they need. They get the exposure, and you're over here frustrated and mad. And sure, you might get the exposure too, but at what cost? At your peace? Costing you your peace? Let's all wake up. Respectfully, I genuinely mean that this time, like genuinely respect, like with genuine respect. Let's all wake up, okay, and understand that a lot of these people out here are, well, now I realize, are probably getting paid to antagonize us, or are they know that they can get strong engagement if they do antagonize us, okay? Let's all just understand that, and understand that's what the program is, because we're probably going to engage in it, and it's going to spark an emotion out of us, and it's going to lower our morale, okay? I'm not saying that we shouldn't feel. Absolutely feel how you want to, okay? Absolutely grieve the fact that we are the butt of the joke every single time. That even like the prettiest of pretty, someone like an Olandria, still is subjugated to all different types of insults and verbal abuse online, right? Like, absolutely address that. But also, please acknowledge this is all to get people talking. This is all to develop talking points. This is all to get you talking, upset, angry. And the sooner we learn how to just ignore the discourse about how awful we are as individuals, whether we're combative, whether we're calling people out our name, whether we're just not really picked for whatever reason by men who once again look like thumbs, just understand that this is all to rile us up and get us to talk about it. It's to get, I'm doing it right now, talk about why we're not desirable. The sooner we can just kind of ignore those types of people. This is what I do every time I have a knot. I just cut it. It's fine. We ignore that type of discourse. Like, I knew we were like at rock bottom personally, and I knew that they were trolling us when that Asian girl got on TikTok and said that women's pussies are deeper because they have to take like black peen better. Like, I just knew, like, girl, do you want attention? Is that what you want? Like, is it like, are you not like hitting your target audience? Do you need to garner? And it was like, of course, like one of those problematic podcasts. So it's like, okay, so this is what we're doing, right? This is exactly what we're doing. The podcast isn't hitting the way it needs to. You have to say something so controversial so people will actually go listen to your pod. Cool. Be aware of that, okay, guys? Like, really understand that that's what the game is. That's why folks like Tate, Marlon, whatever Gaines, Kevin seemed like, that's what that's the code now. All right, that's what's on code. Okay, so once you realize that that's the game plan and that's what's on code, the sooner you'll be able to be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to engage with this, because they want you to engage. They want you to feel hurt enough that they don't prefer you, that they don't want you, that they're not into you, that you're too aggressive, that you're too this and that, so that you can stitch their video so that people will go watch their content anyway. And so while you're up here upset and frustrated, they've already gotten a couple of thousand, a couple of hundred followers and supporters gassing them up, right? I know it's hard. I know it's tough. I know there's a lot of like warfare going on with women of color, but I need you guys to understand, please do not sit in that, please, okay? Like, you do yourself so much good if you just ignore it and ignore them, and they'll probably disappear because they know they can get a big reaction out of us. And at this point, it's embarrassing. I personally even feel like the discourse between like someone like an Olandria is, again, them trying to antagonize women like us, you know what I mean? And create anger and create drama, you know, and create talking points for us to discuss. You know what I mean? And you don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. And so with that in mind, I just want us to like do our best to ignore it. I know it's hard. We can have a support group, figurative support group, I guess. Like, there is a conscious effort to demoralize Black women, to demean Black women, to make us feel like we're less than. And I think it's because they know that we're like above, like we outperform gender-wise with men, our own men, right? We're like the most educated too, and they're just trying to grasp at straws to make it seem like we're not as big as we actually are. And I don't think it's fair, but it's where we're at. Just be aware, be on the lookout. How does my hair look? Maybe I should change my shirt so you guys can really see what it looks like. But just be aware of that, okay? Be aware. I know it's not fair, it's not okay, but personally, I have some wackadoodle conspiracy theories to why that's happening, but I'm not gonna talk about that here. Every day I'm unemployed, I sound more and more like a woo-woo girl. I'll be right back. But yeah, don't fall for the Kool-Aid, my good sis, okay? Don't sip the Kool-Aid, don't fall for it. These ninjas really trying to, these folks really trying to antagonize us. So anyway, so this is what my hair looks when I like fluff it out. I actually have really fine hair, right? So that means that in the sunlight, I'll probably post a picture, but yeah, like it does not look as full as it does when like I'm facing the sun. I'm coming to terms with that I have very thin hair strands and I have like medium to fine density hair, right? But it'd be hard sometimes, but I'm happy that I'm like finally, embracing my hair as it is, and I'm letting it grow out and protecting it and letting it get healthier. My goal is to get to like 30 inches. I want my hair to be 30 inches long, and I think it would be great for like the type of look that I'm trying to go for. So this is what it looks like. Here, I'll turn to the side, back. I don't know what it looks like on camera, but this is the healthiest my hair has ever been. Like, I am not even lying. Like, my hair has never been this healthy as before in my entire life. So it's pretty impressive that my hair has been able to grow in the way it has. So, okay. What? We got a lot of topics. This video is like 2.5 hours long, so I'm gonna skip some topics and I'm gonna just go to the big one. I saved the best for last, but by best I mean most controversial. Okay, so Charlie Kirk, okay, no longer with us, no longer in the land of the living. He has passed away. He was assassinated, right? A lot of people have been talking about his assassination, have been putting out conspiracy theories about what they feel has happened. You got certain half of people who are celebrating his death and who are celebrating the fact that this problematic figure no longer has a platform because he's no longer with us. You also have people on the other side who are grieving him in the way that one would grieve for a martyr, or putting him up on this amongst the same pedestal as like a Martin Luther King type of figure for the conservatives, okay? I'm going to be as like least problematic as possible when I say this for one of two reasons. One, I don't like talking ill about the like, that's just something I don't like to do. And then two, I also don't want to get doxxed, which leads me to my next point. People have been getting doxxed and oh shit. I gotta add my setting spray. Hold on a second. I'm putting on fixing spray to bind everything together. Okay. People are getting they're getting doxxed and getting threats for not feeling bad for Charlie Kirk, for not like grieving this man. And here's all that I'm going to say about the entire situation. I've noticed about individuals who are notorious in that way, right? And one would argue that in certain spaces, Charlie Kirk is a notorious individual, right? Again, I'm trying to keep it, I'm not gonna get too visceral with it, but like he did say some pretty awful things about different racial groups, about women, about marginalized people, about the Second Amendment. Here's one thing I will say. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, okay? You're literally saying in interviews, in podcasts, at events that unfortunately we're gonna have to have a lot more lives lost in the name of protecting the Second Amendment, and then the life that's lost is yours. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not so much happy and rejoicing in this man's unaliving. I'm worried and concerned, and the reason why is because I feel like his assassination is going to be used as a manipulation tactic to get people riled up at other marginalized groups that might align with democratic values in order to have people assimilate again, okay? What has happened before Charlie Kirk was Kirk, okay? Well, we noticed that the MAGA party was in shambles. Why? Because those Epstein files haven't dropped. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she made an attempt to expose the Epstein files, but when it's all said and done, nothing really has been dropped. No information has been released about the files. Some victims have came out, but Trump has made it very clear that he doesn't want to release those files, okay? He doesn't want to talk about it. And again, something that y'all voted for was for him to, like, hopefully release the information on these files and vindicate these victims, right? And why you would ever think that Democrats were probably the only ones who were shipping underage children off to abandoned islands and not Trump, even though you had evidence and picture evidence of this man like shaking hands with Epstein, right? See, that's what's rich to me, right? Like you all should have saw the signs that this man was not going to talk about the Epstein files. Like, that wasn't going to happen. He's a manufactured businessman, right? Born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He probably seen stuff like this done before with his family members and just thought it was a Tuesday for him. I say all of that to say that what's happening right now, I believe, in my woo-woo conspiracy theory, right? I believe what is happening is there is a diversion from what has been going on with the Epstein files, and there is a need and effort to assimilate the conservative party because they are in shambles. And I think that the way that they're going to do that is to capitalize off of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. In the same breath, encouraging non-POC people or white people or people who align more so with supremacy mannerisms to attack and threaten other people of color, unions and groups, and just marginalized groups in general. I think that's the overall goal with this assassination. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I think that there was more of an effort to capitalize off of this in a way to congregate a certain political party so that they can enforce tools of silencing and ending freedom of speech in hopes to create a narrative that this man was unalived by the political left or liberals, right? Like, I think that's the intention. You even see it, which is wackadoodle to me, but you even see it in how people are talking about the person who unalived this man, right? Like, you see it in real time, how they're trying to find anything, fish for anything, to make it seem like this was off his, like not just a leftist, but like to make it seem like, you know, like, oh, his partner was transgendered or non-binary or something, to make some sort of agenda towards trans people, right? Like, they're trying to find anything to put a big bad on, to create more chaos, to create more discourse, and to, what I feel like, distract from what the real issue is. And I've said this before, both the Republican and Democratic Party do not have the American citizens in their best interests. A lot of them are in the business of creating controversies and diversions in order to co-sign certain policies that we probably wouldn't be okay with, but with certain heightened emotions, we'd probably be down for. And this is all to further control the public, the bottom line, while the 1% does whatever. Again, I sound like a woo-woo conspiracy girl, but at this point, we're like 2.5 hours into this. I don't give a shit, okay? I think it's funny, and I find it funny. Whether you hated this man, whether you like this man, I don't care. I find it funny that as soon as he passes away, JD Vance now has full ownership and is now running Charlie Kirk's podcast. I find that interesting that the vice president, after this man has passed, is like hijacking this dude's podcast. Do you find that interesting? Like, it doesn't matter what I agree with. Like, I don't fuck with Charlie Kirk at all, right? I don't agree with his politics. I think he's a grifter, right? But I don't respect how he has been used, how people of power kind of came in and just took what was once his and made it their own, and hopefully push whatever agenda they have, you know what I mean? And I just want you guys to be more cognizant of that, because, not to sound bleak, but I feel like that's not gonna be the first unaliving that we're probably gonna see, unfortunately. I don't know, it's probably gonna be a really scary time, but I feel like the bigger issue and the bigger concern is how the media, Trump's media, is going to manipulate this so that a certain side can galvanize and retaliate against groups that align more so with a political side. I find it also very interesting that even though a white man had killed Charlie Kirk, there are white supremacist hate groups that are targeting HBCUs. But the man who unalived Charlie Kirk was not a black person, so why are you targeting HBCUs? Do you not find that funny? I think that's a little bit fabricated in my opinion. I think there was like an intention behind it. Again, y'all voted for that. That's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all voted for, you know? I think at some point we need to hold ourselves accountable for the decisions that we're making. And by we, I mean whoever voted in the interest of what's going on right now against their best interest, right? I think we need to start holding ourselves accountable and understanding that none of these parties right now have our best interests at heart. I think there's only 2 or 3 politicians that I fuck with, and then I haul myself over to the voting polls because now it's lessers of two evils. It's not even about, do I actually agree with what they're doing? Now we need to do better, or like y'all do, you know, like y'all need to be aware of what's going on, because at the end of the day, what you're mad at really isn't a certain political party. It isn't random kids at an HBCU. It isn't the leftist that pwned your fave Nazi content creator or whatever. I think what you're really mad at is that you don't feel represented, you don't feel justified, and you don't feel like your livelihood matters. Okay, I think that's what you're mad at. I think that the sooner we stop getting so divisive, this sounds like some kumbaya shit, but let's just know that I'm like very leftist, okay? As soon as we prioritize what matters, as we come together and realize that it really is all of this fabrication, at least in America, done by a certain percentage of people who have access to the most resources and privileges and powers, right? I think the sooner we can move in the right direction. But right now, all this infighting, all of this, you know, it's their fault. You know, we need to go after the blacks, the Mexicans, the queers, the trans. Like, girl, we're not doing anything, okay? It's all them convincing you that we're the problem, all right? And I need us all to realize that sooner rather than later, okay? Like, I really do, because we're gonna end up getting into, if we're not already in one, quite frankly, into a pit that we cannot get ourselves out of, and things will take super drastic changes and we won't even know what's going on before it's too late. So yes, with that in mind, I think I'm done. That's all I got today, guys. I don't have much else to talk about, really. Y'all have been wonderful. Thank you for listening to me yap for like an hour and 2 hours almost. I don't know how I'm gonna shorten this, but by George, I'm going to do it. I hope you guys like this new series. Hey, Exis, what's on your mind? Gonna try and keep this consistent. Gonna let y'all go. As always, don't forget to drink water, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye.